So, namaste to all. Today's topic of discussion would be how to incorporate raw and cooked food into the meals. So, the topic of food is very vast and it is very different when it goes to every system of medicine or any cultural, the regional differences. And there are many aspects into it. So, there is nothing like a standard definition as how the food has to be or what the nature of the food has to be. It all varies with different factors. So it's like a very big topic, but we'll just have this small statement as how to have the raw food and the cooked food into our meals. So before we get into the topic as such, we just have a brief introduction as what Ayurveda thoughts are about food. So in Ayurveda, we consider the three pillars of health to be food, sleep, and the self-control. So which is translated as Ahara, Nidra, and Brahmacharya. All the Ayurveda classics are written in Sanskrit. And we believe that the origin of Ayurveda was from Brahma, and which was later on passed to the rishis. And then we got the science, and it was all in the documented form. So all our terminologies are basically in Sanskrit. So the three pillars which are responsible for the positive health and which could be the cause of the illness are the food, the sleep, and the self-control. When one has a regimental pattern in the diet, the sleep habits, and a good self-control over our sense organs and the mind, we consider ourselves to be having a healthier life. So when it comes to the aspects of the treatment, here again, food plays a major role. So we consider there are 4 limbs to have an effective treatment. Of the 4, food occupies the first place. So food, vihara is the activities, vichara is the thought process, aushadhi is the proper medicine or the treatment that we are following. Okay, so it is ahara, the food, vihara, the activities, vichara, the thought process, aushadha or the medicine as such.
What is vichara?
Vichara is how our thought process is. Because the thoughts very much influences the positive health, and especially when a person is doing the treatments, the thought process has to be in a very streamlined process so that the effectiveness of the treatment is smooth.
It is very good.
Shall we move on?
If I can ask, what is the thought process to be cultivated in one line?
A positive thought process. Like whatever we are doing, we need to have confidence and have a positive approach towards it. That's where we should start with, and then everything follows that.
Okay, so rather than being too much analytic of the process,
Yes.
accept is going to be beneficial for me. Is that?
Yes. First, it goes as acceptance, then the body tries to adapt to it, and then we get into a right track. So, any inputs on this?
Vihara, once again?
Vihara is the activities. It can be anything like what time to wake up, what time to sleep, and what our activities are during the day. It could be our work related, our activities, the food pattern, the timings. Yes. So anything with the activities is related to the Vihara.
Out of 4, if we have to the percentage, which one is more important? Is all 25%, or?
It depends on what the nature of the illness is.
Oh.
So I can say everything
What
goes what doshas and what system is involved. And as such, everything has got its priority. But Ayurveda at one place says that ahara is called as a Mahaushadha, Mahabeshaja, which is like a superior medicine. If you have your food in the right place, the health is considered to be positive because the food has a direct relation to the digestive system, which is the cause for the health in the diseases. This we will go through with the further slides. So let's understand what food is. Is it like whatever we eat, is that the food, or is it food something more beyond that. So it is said that like as I was telling you, it's all in Sanskrit. I'll just read out these two sentences. It's Varnaha Prasadaha Sausvaryam Jeevitam Pratibha Sukham Tushtir Pushtir Bhalam Veda Sarvamannam Pratishtitam. So which is the food gives us the complexion, food gives us the clarity with everything, clarity with the thought process, clarity with our activities, everything. Then it gives us the clarity in the speech, longevity, performance, it gives us happiness, satisfaction, and it nourishes the body. It gives in good strength and the intellect. So what kind of food gives us all these things is what is the next thing. So the body is made up of the food. So it is called as Deho Hi Ahara Sambhava. So we are what we eat, what we digest, and what we absorb. So food is considered to be the base of life. So as I was telling, the food, what we eat, what we digest, and what we absorb makes us. So the digestive system plays a major role in this. So food is responsible for our health and for the diseases. So when the food is wholesome, we have a positive health and that gives us happiness. When there is imbalance in the food, that's what the diseases starts up from. And that is like dis and ease is something like a misery to the body. So the best among the things that sustain life is the food. And food is considered to be the Mahabheshija, which is the right medicine. So it is said that no medicine is equivalent to the right food. So when you have your food in the right place, the system is functioning well. So just to sum up, what are the benefits of the food is it nourishes both the mind and the body. It helps in balancing of the doshas and it supports the immunity and the vitality of the person. And what kind of food supports all this is Hita, Mita and Kala Ahara. Hita is the right food, Mita is the right quantity and Kala is the right time. So food that is had in the right quantity, the right time and the right food for us is what is called as the food, and that is what keeps us healthy. Am I too fast? So when we say that is what keeps us healthy, the next thing is what is health? Is it just the absence of diseases that is health? No, it's not just the absence of disease. It's beyond that. And again, the definition of health goes as Samadosha, Samagnyascha, Samadhatu Malakriyaha, Prasanna, Atma, Manaha, Indriya. This is very important. Swasthya Itya Vidyate. So now I think you all will have some idea of what doshas, dhatus, mala, agni is. So it goes as a balanced state of doshas in the body. So the doshas are three, which is like the vata, pitta, and the kapha. We are born with a certain proportion of these, what we identify ourselves as our constitution. And because of our day-to-day activities, our daily regimen, there is another factor called as Vikriti, which is very dynamic. And when this Vikriti is out of its threshold, it causes the diseases, or those are responsible for the positive factors. So the goal of Ayurveda treatment is to have a balanced state of the doshas, but all this depends again on the lifestyle. So the balanced state of the doshas, the balanced state of the Agni. Agni is the digestive fire. In Ayurveda, we have a description of 13 kinds of digestive fire. And a balance of all these 30 is very important for maintaining the positive health. And the dhatus can be correlated to the structure in the body, just as how the conventional system has the circulatory system, the respiratory system, the muscular system. In Ayurveda, we have a concept of the Sapta Dhatus, which is the 7 dosha dhatus, which goes from the blood plasma, blood, muscles, bone, bone marrow, and then the reproductive elements. So a balanced state of that. And they talk about the excretion also. So a balanced excretion, they define what a proper stool nature has to be, what a proper urine has to be, and what the definition of the sweat is and how the sweat has to be for it to be considered as a normal elevation. So a balance of all these is very important to have a positive health. And beyond that, it is a balanced state of mind, consciousness, and the sensory faculties. So when the mind is disturbed or when our coordination between the sense organs, the mind and the supreme power is not in coordination, that also leads to the health issues at the very deeper level in the body, and then it gets manifested as the bodily health issues. So in Ayurveda, we have a concept of mind and body relationship. So that's how even with your treatments, the mind also is considered when the treatments are planned. So it is like a psychosomatic or the holistic approach of the treatment. So now we have understood that food is very important for maintaining the positive health. And for that, the digestive system has to be very strong and functioning well. But who is going to tell us, or how do we know whether the digestive system is functioning properly? Gut, yes, that is the digestive system. But how do we know that that is functioning properly? Okay. But
That energy is good.
correct. Energy good, having appetite at the right time, having proper elimination. So there are various factors that is described in Ayurveda, which we'll go through it. So the signs, what shows our gut is functioning properly is clear burps. So burp is very normal, and having a clear burp indicates that our digestive system is functioning well. There should not be any food regurgitation. There should not be any sour burps, bitter burps, the astringent burps. It should be like a clear burp. And as you said, energetic and being enthusiastic. Proper timely elimination of the stools and urine, and feeling of lightness in the body, and timely hunger and thirst. So these are the signs which tells us that our digestive system is functioning properly. If we find any impairment at any of these levels, we need to go to address what wrong we have done with our daily activities, whether it could be our sleep pattern or your daily regimen or the food we are consuming. So there could be some lacuna somewhere if these are not seen. So again, to sum up, so the factors responsible for the proper digestion are the digestive system, which is called as the koshta or the gut, again the digestive fire and the food. So even if the digestive system of the fire is in its optimum level, the food sometimes we eat might not get digested properly. So for that, we need to have a proper defined meal pattern. And there comes the importance of the wholesome food. And this wholesome food helps in balancing all the doshas in the body, and that helps in maintaining and promoting the positive health. So when we say the wholesome food, we don't have the concept of the carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins, fibers, or the minerals in Ayurveda. It is wholesomeness in its taste. So we consider that every meal has to be a combination of all the 6 tastes, which is sweet, sour, salt, bitter, pungent, and astringent. So sweet may not be anything coming from sugar or jaggery. So even the pulses, even the grains or anything that is rich in carbohydrates also is considered as sweet in taste. That's how we insist not to skip carbohydrate in any of your meals. So have a carbohydrate, have a protein, and some vegetables, which makes it a complete meal with all the 6 tastes.
Protein is not given much importance in Ayurveda, is it? In
It
the
is.
sense that it is in the allopathic blood test and everybody keeps measuring proteins.
No.
We don't get into the classification of proteins, but we do say as a form of a dal is essential for the body. When the digestive system is good, have a good source of protein. If the digestive system is weak, then have a better control of the protein in the food.
As you have just said, they consider the other side, considers dal, okay, that's a weak protein, there's some protein, but not as good as X, Y, Z. But we don't get into that classification.
No. And again, there is one more factor. Just as I said, there are 6 tastes which makes our meal wholesome. There are 20 properties that is described. So that's the next deeper level. So they call it as Lahu and Guru. So which is light for digestion and which is easier for digestion. So coming to your thing of proteins. So when we consider the moong dal and the urad dal. So moong dal is easier for digestion,
Right.
but urad dal is heavy. So when a person needs a good protein source and he has a stronger digestive fire, we go in with urad dal. When the person urad dal, because that's heavier dal. When the person's digestive system is weak and he needs lighter food to nourish, then it is the moong dal. So that way, even we have the categories of the heaviness and the lightness in the meal. And then it goes to the oiliness and the dry food. So there are 20 opposite nature properties of food that is described. And there is one more concept called as virya, wherein it is whether it is hot in nature or cooling in nature. So basically, it is these three that defines the wholesomeness: the taste, the guna, which is called as the property, virya, which is called as the potency.
Plus, taste is first, second.
Guna is the properties, whether it is lighter digestion or easier for digestion, heavy for digestion, whether it is oily, whether it is dry, whether there are 20 factors. And the third one is the potency. Hot, ushna, cold, which is shita. So whether the food that is having the nature of heating nature to the body or that has a cooling properties. Again, if we go back to the dal, all the dals generally get into the shita. So now getting into the topic as such, if this is the meal plate for the breakfast, which has like a combination of fruits and cooked, and the second is only the cooked meal. So what is generally preferred?
Depends upon the in which state you
Correct.
live.
So as I was telling you, it is very regional, very habit formed, but the concept here is never mix cooked food with the raw food.
Ayurveda says.
Ayurveda says don't mix cooked food and the raw food. Wherever you are, whichever region you come, whatever the food habits are, never mix it. Because anything that is cooked is easier for digestion. Anything that is raw is difficult for digestion. Because cooking makes the process of the digestion easier. So whenever digestive system is weak or whenever you start your day, always have warm cooked food. So that's how the concept is never mix cooked food and the raw food. That's how even here during the breakfast, we ask you to have your breakfast and carry the fruit to your room and have it later. So again, this
One question in Ayurveda, general tendency in any diet, not in Ayurveda. They say that salad should be an important part of your food diet. But salads are basically cold raw food, right? So here, the salad should not be mixed with.
should not be mixed with
So when
the
can the salads be?
salads can be had 1 hour before the meal, or salad can be on its own as a meal for the lunch. When the digestive system is strong, it can be on a meal on
You
its
also
own.
eat or meat and no raw.
Then no raw food, because it is difficult for it to process.
And Lalitha, salads can be cooked as well.
Yes,
I
salads
know.
can be steamed
I
or stir-fried,
Most of the salads are
Cold. and then you can add little seasoning to make it
Yeah.
acceptable.
Okay.
But only when the digestive system is strong to have a salad as a meal. Otherwise, it is 1 hour before the meal or avoid the salad until the digestive system is strong.
Doctor, I mean, in my case, I prefer the top side, I prefer the right.
Correct.
But if my doctor was eating with me, she scolded me for not having protein. And in her concept, protein is egg.
So idli has a good source of protein because idli has urad dal and there is sambar in it, there is chutney.
Carbs, that's what she said.
No, we'll have to change the concept. And as I was telling you, it's a very debatable
That's what
topic.
he did to me.
No, never start your day with the fruit again, because again, with the concept of doshas, when the stomach is empty, there is always the vacuum that is created, which is related to the vata dosha. Anything that is cold in nature and raw aggravates the vata, which is causing the disturbance in the digestive system. So always, again, when you are breaking your fast, never break your fast with the raw food. So breaking the fast always has to be with the warm food and which is lighter for digestion.
I've been eating fruit first thing in the morning for years.
Yes. I am also there, sir. So again, the same thing for the lunch. So separate off your salads from your lunch, have it an hour earlier and then have the cooked food. So this is the gist of the thing today. Never mix cooked food with the raw food. Because it disturbs the digestive system. Once the digestive system is disturbed, that's where all the diseases sets in. We have a concept called as ama in Ayurveda, which is nothing but the undigested food that is settled in the body. So when this undigested food starts settling in the body, it goes circulating in the channels all over the body, and it finds out the weak spot in the body, goes there, clings, and the disease process sets in. So for a person who has a weak digestive system, the digestive system would be the spot identified by this circulating ama. If a person has a weak skin, it shows up as skin disorders. A weak joint, then it shows up as the joint related
Ailments in Ayurveda relates to the ahara and the digestive.
and basically the digestive system. There are other factors also, but everything revolves around the digestive system.
I want to ask, like, what are the 6 tastes that we need to include?
Sweet, sour, salt, pungent, bitter, and astringent.
Sweet, sour, salt.
Pungent is spicy,
Yeah.
bitter, astringent.
Bitter is what?
Bitter as in bitter gourd.
Bitter.
Yes. Raw banana, like something that sticks onto your mouth, which gives a funny feeling in the mouth. When you have a fruit which is not completely ripe,
Okay, and
that is the astringent taste.
Which will be the tamarind.
No, tamarind is sour. When you have a banana which is not completely ripe, or when you have any vegetable as such which is not completely ripe, the feel that you get in the mouth is the astringent taste. So what happens?
Ma'am, one thing I want. So 2 things we get here. We should not eat raw food in breakfast.
Correct.
Like salad or food,
Yes,
and we should always get cooked food in the breakfast. That will be
Correct.
easy for our breakfast. We
that's
can have them later in lunch or dinner as a.
between the meals is the best time. So again, don't combine with the lunch, and do not have anything raw after sunset. That again, because the digestive system slows down after sunset. So we consider ourselves to be the microcosm of the universe. So whatever changes happens in the universe reflects in us. So and sun is considered to be the heat factor, moon is considered to be the cooling factor. So when the sun raises up, that's when the digestive fire is raising in the body. So always have a lighter breakfast and a heavier lunch, because sun is at its peak in the afternoon. Whatever we digest gets digested easily because of the energy from the sun. As the sun goes down, our digestive system also slows down. So the breakfast and the dinner has to be the lighter meal of the day, and the lunch has to be the heavier meal. So do not eat any raw food after the sunset also.
Okay, can we have cooked fruits for breakfast?
Um,
Boiled apples.
Yes, that way steamed apple is good. And when you're cooking your fruit, never cook a fruit with a carbohydrate. Yes, because there again, there is a process of fermentation that develops, and it leads to the digestive imbalance. So the fruit can be steamed or cooked on its own and had. But do
Apple
not,
pie
yes,
is a fruit
not a
is
very,
carbo-
yes, not a very healthy food.
But as you said, fruit eaten between meals, say at 11 o'clock. It's your breakfast till 9 in your lunch is 1.
Yes,
That's fine.
that is ideal, because the cooked food is digested and then the stomach is almost in the verge of being empty, and then you have your fruit that gets digested and then it's ready for the next meal.
The concept that you were following was that eat fruit when your stomach is empty,
Correct.
but not break.
Not on the
fast.
morning, yes, not breaking the fast.
But you said we can have like fruits as a whole meal, like raw food as a whole
Whole
meal.
meal.
So instead of having lunch,
Cannot
warm
have
lunch,
it for the
no, instead of having a warm lunch, we can just have a raw salad for lunch.
yes, and that again, for who
The digestive system,
Yes,
Sorry.
for whom the digestive system is strong, they can have the salad or a raw food as a meal, but not for a person who has a weak digestive fiber.
got it.
So what happens if this habit is into the system that we mix cooked food and the raw food? So the impact of mixing cooked and the raw food would be, they are different in their levels of digestion, because cooking makes the food easier for digestion. So when we eat cooked food and the raw food, there is confusion at the stomach, and the food stays in the gut for a longer duration, and that gives rise to the fermentation, which leads to the gas formation and the bloating. This over a period of time causes ama formation, as I was telling you, the undigested food, and that leads to the malabsorption, the weakness in the immunity, and the onset of
You
disease.
wanted to say that after eating food, we are feeling bloated, because become like raw and.
Raw cooked food, and also the intake of water is very important, not just the water, the fluids. So it is said that the stomach needs to be divided into 4 parts, of which like the half should be with the solid food, the next 1/4 leave it for the liquids, and the last 1/4 has to be kept empty so that there is process of digestion. And whenever we have our meal and we start to walk, there should not be heaviness in the stomach. That's an indication that we have had the right food. Because again, Ayurveda doesn't describe like what, how many grams you should have.
Describe that, eat half of your stomach.
Half of your stomach. The next 1/4 is for the liquid, and the last 1/4 kept empty so that the digestion process is complete in the right way. So just to give the guidelines, as I think we have covered most of this in the discussion part, which I had summarized. So the raw food can be had only when the digestive system is good or when the digestive fire is strong. Avoid mixing raw food and the cooked food. Avoid raw food on empty stomach in the morning and after sunset. Avoid during the monsoon and the winter season. So the food has to be very seasonal. Whenever it is like the warm months, the fruits can be a bigger portion. Whenever it is the monsoon and the winter, you can reduce the portion size of the fruit or the raw food. So eat fruits or raw salads on their own, either 60 minutes before a meal or 2 hours later. Avoid raw food during Ayurveda treatments, because when you have Ayurveda treatments, we want the digestive system to be strong so that the treatments, whatever is going through, is easily absorbed into the body. When the meals becomes heavy, it shaves the digestive fire between the food and the treatments. So the effectiveness of the treatment will not be complete. So only we don't serve anything raw as a vegetable here during the course of treatment. So it's not like you do not have raw food. They both have their own advantages, but the thing is separate it out. Don't mix them together. Thank you.
Very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. I'm sure your department has been email address for all the procedure.
Yes.
If you can share this,
Sure, I
maybe
can do that.
we encourage to read emails twice a day and follow this.
Oh, sure. Thank you. Any queries about the topic? Can we explore with milk? No, that again is a wrong combination. That again is a very vast subject in Ayurveda, which is called as Viruddha Aharas. So it is said that never mix a fruit with milk. It becomes like a Viruddha Ahara, which is not compatible to the body.
Fruit and milk.
But during festival, there they don't add fruit. It is all the milk products that is used with honey. So it goes as milk, curd, honey, ghee, and sugar.
But then you mix Panchamrita.
Panchamrita is these 5.
But then it's fruits in there.
That could be like a transformed version. Otherwise, Panchamrita is all the 5 products of the cow. Sometimes they mix Gomaya and Gomutra also, and these mixed in the right proportion is considered to improve the body's immunity. But this fruit mixing is somewhere down the line that it has got its
That is not the
transformation.
right.
That's not the right. These five or sometimes the Gomaya and Gomutra also gets added to this. This is basically to improve the immunity.
I think whatever is like into your. Nothing to say. We can use.
Physical form. So
Now,
never have milkshakes.
Now,
Or
what
never.
about nuts?
No, that's what is the fruit and the milk. So no
I think
milkshakes.
we have, but.
Now, what about nuts, being cashew, almond and makhana and milk and fish?
Yeah.
What about that nuts?
You're mixing nuts in milk and you're warming it up. That's okay,
Yes.
but it becomes a heavy drink. So a person should have a strong digestifier to digest.
Can we have nuts on its own? Like,
Nuts on its own.
you have.
And try to
I will do that
reduce
as
the
well.
cashew nuts in the meal. Like whenever you are preparing anything, like try to reduce the cashew nuts.
But if one has almonds,
Good.
cashew on its own, or that. Good.
Can be good.
Overnight soak.
Make it
and can be
effective.
breakfast.
To make it effective, you can soak it overnight or you can dry roast it. Because as such, nuts are heavier for digestion. So when you dry roast it, it becomes more easier. But it can be soaked also, which is considered little heavier.
But you can't have it early in the morning.
No,
Because
not
so
so.
it's raw.
Yes.
Nuts will not be-
Yes. As you said, it can be mixed with warm milk and fat.
Sometimes what I do is I cut sunflower seeds and also the nuts together and have it together.
No, that's like too many things, a very nutritious plate, but what gets into the system is not right. Because fruits, milk, nuts, they have different levels of digestion. So,
Nuts and seeds.
yes, fruits are like the raw. The nuts and seeds are heavy for digestion. So these are cold in nature. So they don't go well as a combination. You can have it separate.
The same would go with, as you said, pumpkin seeds.
Any seeds, yes.
So
Seeds and nuts can be mixed.
have it in the evening, right?
Yes.
No.
Along with coffee or tea.
See, when you have these healthy food with the coffee or tea, they reduce the six from that.
She has a, like,
Oats we cannot eat.
Oats you can have.
with the what so many things I'm adding and I'm into. That's my.
Don't add fruits. Don't add fresh.
What are the fruits? Don't have nuts.
Yeah.
Blueberry.
Nuts also she can powder and have.
No. Powder.
Powder and have.
Yeah.
No, don't remove fruits from it. Coconut milk can be added.
Maybe we can add dry fruits.
Yes, dry fruits which are not sour. If you are adding milk,
Like berries. Raisins. No.
it should not be sour.
It should be-
Separate it out.
Grapes.
It is
Dried grapes.
dry grapes. It should be,
So the.
it is sour again.
It's sour again.
So never do it with milk, and any fruit is dried to preserve it. So when you soak it or when you mix it with anything warm, it gets into its properties. So remove the fruits.
What I'm understanding, doctor, is what is nourishing outside, may not be nourishing inside.
And when it is with the big combination, that's, they are right. So we can have separately, that would be more.
That's a takeaway from this.
So within a gap of say half an hour, I will have fruits, then I will have nuts, then I will have. Then
It is overnourishment, and again, the stomach cannot tolerate too many things. And in fact, it is said that do not have meals more than 3 times a day.
But within a window, like say I fast for 16 hours and the 8 hour window, I can have as much as I want.
No, then the 16 hours of positive benefit is gone. So when you are eating your meals for in 8 hours, it has to be just 2 meals and maybe something light in between. That's it. So you get the benefits of the 16 hours.
What we do here, for example, breakfast at 8, lunch at 1, or dinner at 8. Okay.
That's sufficient.
What is the Ayurveda concept of having tea and coffee? Is that?
Ayurveda doesn't say no to tea and coffee. It doesn't say no tea, but do not have it on empty stomach. That's it.
So that's why we told you not first thing in the morning.
First thing in the morning.
Like everybody has the habit of having coffee or tea as well.
Yes, that can be replaced with warm water, which helps in improving the digestive
This is
system.
the same effect as what this. Which is right. Good. That's
I love this.
why we are here.
Say yes. I think you should include that statement. What is outside is what looks like nourishing outside may not be nourishing inside.
It's not necessarily
They're not necessarily nourishing.
No, it is not always nourishing when it is having combination.
ultimately then will be depends upon your digestion.
This is
You're ugly.
digestive fire.
Ma'am, when I get up early, what I do is I get some lukewarm water and mix lemon in it. Is it good? I have been doing this for past many years.
In what?
In lukewarm water. I mix
1 or
lemon.
2 drops of lemon is fine. Otherwise, just lukewarm water is sufficient. And whenever you are having anything on empty stomach, try to make it as bland as possible. It should not be like a gastric irritant. So instead of going in for lemon, you can either add cumin, coriander, or some soap. That would help soothe in the stomach. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.